Welcome, Generals. It's a new day and we have a new version of the JMP mod. Version 1.29 is now live and available to download. I will place several links in the video description below. One link will take you to the Discord channel for the mod. I will include links directly to the Steam and Good Old Games versions. However, the most up-to-date mod information and download links will always be available on the Discord first. I highly recommend joining the Discord channel for the mod. Note that you do not need to sign up or download Dropbox to download the files. I'll link my installation guide video to walk you through the process. PandaKraut maintains a Google Docs version of the mod guide, so that link is also available in the video description. One of the first questions players always ask is whether the new mod version is compatible with existing save files. The answer is both yes and no. Programmatically, your existing save files will open. However, the extensive changes in version 1.9 result in a different overall experience, therefore you're expected to start a new campaign. The purpose of this video is to give you an overview of the changes between 1.28.4 and 1.29. Additional videos will delve deeper into the game mechanics, explain how things work, and the factors you need to consider when making various choices. There are now 6 difficulty levels within the Rebalance mod: Colonel or Easy, Brigadier General or Normal, Brigadier General Plus or Normal Plus, Major General Light or Hard Light, Major General or Hard, and Legendary, which is Ultimate. Brigadier General Plus increases AI size by 20% and AI unit experience by 50% over the normal Brigadier General. When you select Brigadier General during the campaign setup, you'll receive the option to choose Brigadier General Plus. This will provide a more challenging experience than normal Brigadier General, while still being much easier than Major General Light. Major General Light reduces AI unit size and experience by 20% compared to the default Major General difficulty. The chosen difficulty level also applies an AI max unit size modifier on the higher difficulties. The modifiers are a 15% increase for Major General Light, a 25% increase for Major General, and a 30% increase for Legendary. Other modifiers, such as variance and the intelligent report figures, still apply. In my opinion, unit size tiers are the most significant revision to mod version 1.29. I will discuss why this change has such a drastic influence on the replayability of the mod in a separate video. There are 3 tiers: the default, large, and very large unit sizes. You'll be prompted to either stay with the default or move up to large or very large unit sizes during the campaign setup. If you decline the large version, then you'll receive the default version. If you accept the large version, then you'll be asked if you want to go to the very large unit tier. Unit size tiers will affect your campaign in several different ways. First, the minimum and maximum size of your units is determined by the tier. In the default tier, your infantry will range between 850 and 3,000 men. When you create a recruit unit, it will have 850 men. Points in army organization determine the maximum unit size. 1 point in AO allows the unit to increase to 1,400 men. 10 points allow it to increase to the maximum of 3,000. Second, your support unit sizes are now proportional to the infantry brigade size. For example, the maximum dedicated skirmisher size is 1/6 of the maximum infantry size. Cavalry units are 1/3, and artillery batteries are 1/5 of the maximum infantry size. Those ratios are the same for the large and the very large tiers. If you have 10 points in army organization, you could still build the maximum support unit sizes while having the minimum infantry size. Tiers simply caps the maximum support unit sizes to eliminate the extreme variations that could occur in previous mod versions. An indirect effect of the new tiers is controlling the range of the AI unit sizes. Since the tiers set the minimum and maximum player unit range, that automatically narrows the range of the AI unit sizes in the standard scaling mechanics. Note that if a unit bleeds down to a size smaller than the minimum unit size, the scaling mechanics will assume it's still the minimum unit size for that tier, rather than its actual size. Since the large and very large tiers require bigger minimum unit sizes, those tiers also increase armory shop stocks, the reputation buys, and the rewards from the battles. You will also see much larger unit sizes at Philippi and the Potomac Fort for both the player and the AI. Therefore, the units that you get to start with at your first camp will be larger. You are going to discover that the large and very large unit tiers are not the same game experience as the default. Opportunity costs will change, particularly regarding career points you prioritize. Strategies and tactics for the default tier may be suboptimal in the larger tiers, significantly increasing the mod's replayability. Full battle reworks are complete through Stones River. A few later battles may have minor updates or revised timers. Philippi and the Potomac Fort battles now have significantly larger AI units on legendary difficulty rather than being the same as Major General. Here are the CSA-specific battle updates. Potomac Fort has its timers shortened and Phase 2 AI unit sizes increased. Shiloh, the timers have been shortened and a slight increase in scaling. Port Republic, the AI spawn points changed to limit spawn camping. Gaines's Mill, buffer units are no longer needed to force the later units to appear on time. Second Bull Run, adjusted the manual deploy locations for Day 1, and morale and condition will reset when Day 2 begins. For Corinth, remove the alternative reinforcement spawn location in the northwest corner. For Prairie Grove, it was reworked to limit spawn camping. Everettsville and Stones River, the rework is complete. Rio Hill, the battle now ends in a loss if you lose the VP. Enemy reinforcements are now delayed, and the timers are reduced. For the Union-specific battle updates, for First Bull Run, the more time a player uses in the first phase, the closer the Allied reinforcements will spawn to Henry Hill to start the second phase. For Shiloh, deployment slots have been reduced from 40 down to 30. Extra Allied units will now arrive at the Hornet's Nest. The Hornet's Nest phase timer has been slightly reduced. For Malvern Hill, adjusted the CSA spawn points to more consistently attack across the entire front. For Kettle Run, added 30 minutes to the timer. For Second Bull Run, Stony Ridge contested timer has been lowered to 30 minutes, down from 40. 20 brigades from the player's vanguard will now deploy in the first phase. For Crampton's Gap, added 15 more minutes to the timer. For South Mountain, adjusted the CSA deployments to make it much more difficult to sneak around to the back of the VP. For Parker's Crossroads and Stones River, the rework is complete. For Supply Raid, the player will now have some 2-star units. For Chickamauga, the Day 1 timers and the Day 2 initial phase timers have been shortened. Just an FYI, as Panda Crow updates battles, they're often initially released in a test patch that can only be found on the Discord channel. Sometimes there's a big gap between the time that those become available and when they're in the next release. So when you get through Stones River, feel free to drop into the Discord to see if any more of the battles have been revised. Let's take a quick look at career point and perk updates. Previously, politics was the only career area that increased the value of reputation point buys. Now those increases are split between economy and politics. Previously, the maximum weapons recovery from reconnaissance was 2 times or 200% recovery. The maximum now has been slightly reduced to 1.8 or 180%. If you've ever maxed recon earlier in the previous version, you know how ridiculous it was for accumulating weapons anyway. Stepping down to 180% shouldn't be that big of a difference. Medicine's effect on the number of wounded men that move from the badly wounded pool to the wounded pool, or from the wounded pool to the veteran pool, has been reduced by 1/3. Again, as effective as medicine was in 1.28, this won't be that detrimental. It will simply mitigate some of the overpowering effects when rushing for maximum veterans. Medicine has a compound interest-like effect on retaining vets, and that the faster that you max it, the fewer losses that you'll have over the course of the campaign. Since retaining vets equals retaining unit experience, it was somewhat overpowered in the second half of the campaign. But you can bet the farm that I'm still going to be rushing medicine just as soon as possible. The speed bonus to skirmisher perks has been reduced by 5%. Skirmisher and cavalry perks that previously gave 35% accuracy now only give 30%. The Tier 2 infantry perk that gave 100% to detached skirmisher size has been reduced to 75%. The Tier 1 musketry drills perk for cavalry has been renamed to mounted infantry. This perk gives 20% accuracy, 20% effective range when dismounted, and 5% reduced load time. AI melee cavalry will no longer get this perk. They'll get the scouting or melee perk. The Tier 3 mounted cavalry perk has been renamed to dragoons and gives 25% accuracy rather than the increased effective range. All the Tier 3 unit perks provide a small additional bonus depending on the unit's specialty type. The unit's specialty type is determined by their Tier 2 unit perk for all units except skirmishers, which use the Tier 1 perk. Here are two examples. A melee infantry unit would get a 5% bonus to accuracy with the elite perk, or 5% speed bonus with the sharpshooter perk. This fire specialty infantry would get a 5% bonus to cover with the elite perk, or a 25% stealth bonus with the sharpshooter perk. There's many different combinations. There are several new updates to the configuration files. One of them is the ability to modify the Tier 3 bonuses that I just discussed. I will cover the updates and how to modify the most common configurations in a separate video. Moving to AI changes. Unlike 1.28, the AI can once again charge detached skirmishers in 1.29. However, there's a time limit. If the AI does not engage in melee combat soon, the charge will be canceled. The calculations used by the AI to decide when to charge have also been improved. The ability for allied or AI units to split was added in version 1.28. There is a 20% chance that any AI unit can split into two smaller units. Some battles feature units with 100% splits, such as Bartow's infantry defending Matthews Hill in the Union version of the Battle of Bull Run. In those cases, a successful roll for splits will give a third brigade. This check is made for each AI unit when it deploys to battle, but it does not apply to Philippi or the Potomac Fort. With some bad luck, you could face many more units than expected at Distress Call, Newport News, and some of the earlier battles, making them almost unwinnable for all but the most skilled players. To resolve this issue on 1.29, the AI cannot have more than 20% of its total units split in battles through Shiloh. Basically, the game tracks the number of AI units that successfully split, and once it reaches 20%, it can no longer split any additional units. This should reduce some of the difficulty in the earlier battles. After Shiloh, the check for splits works just like it did previously. Variance has been part of the game for some time. If you watch my videos, you should already know how that works. At 1.29, if a successful variance check is going to increase or decrease the size of an AI unit, it's now allowed to exceed the normal minimum or maximum unit sizes. Related to that, the odds of increasing AI unit size at the high end have been reduced. So although variance can boost the maximum size more than before, it'll do it less often. You've heard me say in past videos, the army size in the intelligence reports is related to how fast the army is increasing or decreasing. The numbers displayed are not the actual AI army's total size. To make it more intuitive, PandaKraut has replaced the old numbers with percentages and added text to the tooltip to provide a clearer explanation. The tooltip says army size percentage is an approximation of how much above the minimum timeline strength the AI is. The actual impact on enemy unit size in upcoming battles will likely not exactly match this percentage. Army size value is not a hard cap and not a direct indicator of what you'll face in battle. For comparison with older campaigns, this would say 57 to 62,000. You have prevented the enemy army from building up reserves. Here is a comparison of the intel screen in 1.28 and 1.29. This is right after Chickamauga. The AI has a decent amount of training and weapons quality, but it isn't receiving any bonuses to unit size beyond the defaults, any variance hits, or rolling unit splits. Related to that, as the army size increases on the intelligence report, the numbers will display in yellow or red to indicate that the units are getting bonuses to unit size. Well, there was a bug that caused the game to sometimes display yellow or red incorrectly. That's been corrected. Units will now stop firing at routing units just like the base game. There were too many problems trying to include routing units in the auto-targeting logic. The game now has a stagger feature. Units outside of melee that take more than 5% of their maximum hit points and damage within a short window will be staggered. This will briefly reduce their movement and reload speeds. A staggered unit's morale description will display inside of double asterisks. In case you don't know, a unit size and its number of hit points are the same thing in the game. So don't let any reference to hit points throw you off. If an infantry brigade has 2,000 men, then it has 2,000 hit points. Here's a cool new balance change. Previously, the division commander only affected the unit's command stat. Now the division commanders provide a small bonus to unit experience. It isn't a lot, but going from a lieutenant colonel to a high-level full bird or a low-level brigadier general is worth about 3 points of experience. I find this particularly useful right after battles when a unit finishes at 98 or 99 unit experience and just misses getting their next star. You may find that moving them to a division with a higher level officer instantly gets them the next star. For example, this group just finished Bull Run. Going into the battle, Gibbon, Getty, and Darling all had a chance of getting their second star. Gibbon just made it. The first division commander is a bird colonel with about 20 experience points. If I replace him with a brigadier general from the academy, Getty gets his second star. And if I move Gibbon up to that division, I can add a few veterans to help replace his losses that I couldn't have done in the other division. You're still likely to use lieutenant colonels in divisions early on just because of the cost, but as you get better officers after grand battles, you can move some units around to give them a small boost. Here's another cool one. All historical officers who could appear in the academy for hire after a specific battle will now always appear. For example, previously you had a chance of Brooks and Brewster after Philippi and getting Porter, Henselman, and Franklin after Bull Run. Now they'll always appear after those battles in the academy. This should guarantee that some high-level colonels appear after nearly every battle. This does not apply to the officers that need to be obtained with reputation points. You still need to get them with rep points or lose them after the next grand battle. Speaking of reputation points, the game can only display 2 digits, so it ends at 99. However, if you hover over rep points, the tooltip will display the actual amount. In 1.28, the charge cooldown timer for infantry brigades was equal to the charge duration, while in 1.29 that applies to all the other unit types now too. Dedicated skirmishers now take 25% more morale damage from any type of damage received, so tanking with light infantry entrenched in heavy cover won't be quite as effective. Detached skirmishers now take 15% more morale damage from any damage received. Artillery will now take 25% more morale damage from shell and shot hits. So, rather than just sitting there taking counter battery fire until they eventually shatter, they will now eventually rout. Morale regen bonus and penalty checks from nearby units will occur at a slightly larger radius. In 1.28, units that are being charged incur a morale regen penalty if they're moving. In 1.29, this penalty is increased for dedicated skirmishers. In my testing, dedicated skirmishers would eventually lose so much morale from trying to run from a charge that they would just outright rout without ever being hit. Then when the charging unit caught them when routing, they'd suffer huge damage. So I found it just much more effective to keep them in heavy cover and just countercharge at the last possible second. They tended to last longer and take less damage as a result. Cavalry cannot hold position on top of non-artillery units. Plus, they have a large movement speed penalty when trying to move through friendly units. Several pop-up screens appear when the game is launched or during the campaign setup to help explain the differences between the mod and the base game. This first one tells you to ignore the cutscenes in battle and the introduction text because the mod battle can be very different. If you answer yes here, you will see a list of the tips and the mod changes. An overview of the career point areas appears when you start a new campaign. Another issue for 1.28 was that players were not aware of the number of points required for army organization to properly deploy units for Union Shiloh and CSA Second Bull Run. Pop-up messages will now provide recommendations for AO investments leading up to those battles. Lastly, there are some bug fixes. Reworked various reinforcement and deployment numbers. Should be no change to previously modified battles. Fixed brigade officer minimum XP gained from battles being higher than intended. In 1.28, major generals as brigade commanders could get to lieutenant general in just a couple of battles. That's been fixed. Brigades not assigned to a division should now be capped at 100% command. I'm pretty sure this is talking about AI units that deploy to battle without a corps commander. Fixed an issue where hotkeys were allowing routing units to get selected. Fix equalize rewards config setting that was not working. Fix morale resistant penalties for exhausted units. Fixed morale resistance from morale stat actually checking morale instead of efficiency. If you've made it this far and want to know my plans now that 1.29 is released, I can give you a quick rundown. First, I plan to post the rest of my Union campaign for 1.28. If the battle is different for 1.29, I'll explain that. What happens in camp will be of limited value due to the changes on 1.29, but the actual battle shouldn't play out all that much differently right now because the updates currently stop at Stones River. Second, I have several game mechanics and how-to videos that delve deeper into various aspects of the game and discuss how they affect decisions players might make during their campaign. My mod installation guide was just the first of that series. Third, I experienced a complete steady-state drive failure, which resulted in the loss of all of my CSA Max Vets video files. It was one of 4 drives on my gaming PC. My documents and game saves are all backed up to the internet, but my video files are so large and numerous that it's not feasible to do that with them. I tried some recovery software first and sent the drive out for analysis, but with no luck. They recovered a lot of files, but none for that series. Therefore, my first playthrough in 1.29 will be to restart my CSA Max Vets campaign and begin posting that. I work full-time as a freelance writer, trainer, and course developer. I game and generate content for the mod as time allows, so we'll see how much of that I can get accomplished. Thank you so much for spending some of your valuable time watching today. I hope you found something useful for your campaigns, and I wish you much success in version 1.29, Generals.